Ras,
Yeah.
can we get the usual morning chant from Moblisa Mosque?
Many of us come here with just what we have on our back because of the promise of a better tomorrow. Not necessarily today have to be so much better. And our initiative is to work hard for that better tomorrow. And Jah blesses us. So we get jobs, we get housing, we get those things here in Ethiopia, even when the system was, before the government's new decree, was against us. You know what I'm saying? We're declaring this home and settling down and staying here past our 3-month or 6-month or 2-year visa. You know what I'm saying? Many Rastas just come and said, you know, forget the visa, I'm staying. This is my home. Here in Ethiopia, I hear Mezmor, or I hear Muslim Musi, or I hear Catholic bells, or I hear some praises to God. You know what we hear in America when we wake up? Helicopters, weather report, gunshots, sirens. You don't hear praises to God. So, what's the better place to be for my mental and my spiritual health? To me, it's here. Even though there's problems, okay? There's problems, but there's problems everywhere. I'd rather be here struggling and dealing with these problems than in America right now with Trump and Black Lives Matter and all of these things. Why? I don't want to be there with that. I'm here where it's a black country. It's rare when you see a white face. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm saying this is like, for me, I'm chilling, I'm cool. My mental health, my stress level is down so low. That's why I'm 59 and shining.
Ethiopia, it's where I stand. Ethiopia, the promised land. The longer I stay here, it's the more evidence I have of my determination to be here and get my citizenship. By being here, presence is our only our only clout, is our only influence. We can't get our citizenship if we're down in Trinidad or Toronto or wherever. We have to be here in Ethiopia making it clear that this is where we want to be, and we know that sooner or later, it might take 21 years, might 30 years, it might take 50 years, it might take 100 years, but sooner or later we have to be attended to on this level of governmental precision as to paperwork and identification and so on, and legalization. It's happened in other countries a lot. You know, they deal with the people who are there, and the people are because of their presence. Ethiopia, the promised land. Ethiopia, that's where I stand. Ethiopia, the promised land. Ethiopia's the sweetest land I've ever seen. Ethiopia's wondrous mountains and healing streams. Ethiopia's rainbow promise, red, gold, and green. Ethiopia's future growing in her children's dreams. Ethiopia, that's where I stand. Ethiopia, the promised land.
I am both an insider and an outsider to this community. An outsider as an Ethiopian, and then an insider by living the life and the live it and having the network with them. I'm an activist for them, and also I'm a researcher. But by bringing their voice, it kind of I will plant, let's say, 2 trees in one pot. Yeah. Pan-African movement is like the predecessor of Rastafari movement. Rastafari movement born out of it and become an active movement or society, meaning the Rastafari, to contribute or to manifest the Pan-Africanism agenda.
Rastafari manifested out of the Pan-African movement in terms of a desire to have a spiritual component, 1, a focal point, 2, being the majesty, and 3, a complete holistic way of life within which to attain basically the same goals as the Pan-Africanists, which is the restoration of the continent, the good, everything that's good that we want to happen on the continent.
I don't see them as complementary. I see Pan-African as the wide field of Africans globally. Wherever we are, we constitute the Pan-African world. And there's a continuum of movements that have come up over time in this Pan-African world. So whether it was the Black Power movement, the Black Consciousness movement, the Civil Rights movement in America, the Anti-Apartheid movement in South Africa, these are all movements of Black Africans asserting their right to be and claiming African redemption.
We feel that the white students should relate and pay more attention to the colonized situation here of the blacks first, because after all, this is home. And,
so Rastafari is that expression of Pan-Africanism that brings now to the table a black God.
Those people who started this movement were black. It was an African issue.
In the redemption of black people, the Rasta man is at the vanguard. We're not preaching racism, but we have a duty and a responsibility to lift the black race from the bottom of the social ladder to our rightful position.
There is this term also misinterpreted, a black supremacy. It's not black is higher than white, but it's accepting more of black is the origin of everything. And to deny, to accept that, and also to correct the injustice done in slavery, and to get apology from those who did it.
Our elders were thrown in prison for treason because they said we're not bowing down to Queen Elizabeth, we have a king. They were put in insane asylums. They suffered. My elders suffered. They were beaten. Carroll Gardens incident, they were beaten. They were killed officially by the government because we said Africa, because we said Haile Selassie. But what did he do? He guided us home. He came to this little island, recognized us, gave awards, and said, you know, we love you. We love you.
Children, Aja live. Children, yeah.
They still in search of their African identity, their past identity. They collected different, how do you say, different cultural expressions that make them together as African, and that's where it comes a new African identity. So their clothing from different parts of the dashikis, or it could be the Ethiopian clothes, different African countries' clothes, that's what they wear. And their dietary system also from Ethiopia. They are mostly vegan, but I mean there are different sects. Not every Rasta is vegan for the record.
Must learn.
So they collected this, they ripped these different cultures and made it built it to be their identity.
Children, yeah, Aja live. Ooh, children, yeah, Rastafari live. Children, yeah.
One of the culture shocks for me was coming to Ethiopia and looking at the churches and seeing so much European Marys and European Christ. And in making that investigation, the Abba would say to me, they're gifts from other churches. And they didn't quite understand the psychological effect of those white Jesuses, how it was used by the colonialism to enslave us mentally. How it was used, and we had to break down that chain, and that we wanted to see portraits that were real. So they're learning that now, that side of it. And so it's coming together.
For me, I don't like to be treated as a foreigner, because in England, I'm a foreigner. Over here, I'm a foreigner. In America, I'm a foreigner. So where will I be one? Where will I be? Where are my people? If I have no people in England, if England aren't my people, if Africa is not my people, if America is not my people, then where am I? God created me with a people. I have ancestors. Gun, they don't. Over here, they don't read their history. If they were to read their history, they'd understand that, okay, I may have come from foreign, but I'm not a foreigner. You just don't know. They don't teach. Over here in Ethiopia, they're teaching foreign history. So they will never learn their own history. If they don't teach their own history, they will never be able to move forward. They will always be, they will just stay stuck where they are.
John, would you like to say something on this? Like, what are your problems, the challenges you face with your friends? community is very outspoken, and it's in their culture to reason about something every day or every other day. What they do is they sit under a tree, if not in one place where mostly in the tabernacle they have a meeting, and they reason about everything from a personal problem to a country, political problems, things on the news. That's in their culture. They reason about if they can shout and fight in the discussion, but then at the end of the day, they grab their hand and Rastafari, and it's peace and love. There's nothing that goes out, follows them after the discussion. And they're very proud of that. So to show this, he's very proud. Isaac is now here. He's very proud that his voice is heard. He knows this will reach a certain audience and that it will make a difference. And afterwards, when I asked him first I asked their parents, and then I asked them personally if they're willing and how they see it. He said, no, any platform that I get to make my voice heard, I will do it. And yeah, that's exactly what he manifested here.
More and more we need to come home. For instance, if I have a legal status, I can use my house as collateral and get $500,000 from the bank, and I can set up a farming or some other agro-industrial business. That is one of the greatest things that's holding us down. For we illegal, we cannot approach the bank, because that is how the whole of Ethiopia run. That is why there are about 20 private banks. The whole of Ethiopia is run by the banking system. They give loans and people develop themselves, and they control everything. The same way, if we're legal, then we can approach the banks as collective, get loan, and we can set up business and have equal opportunity. So there's a great advantage in having a legal status, and besides that, I'll be able to travel. I could leave Ethiopia, I could go to Kenya, I could go to South Africa, I could go to Zambia, I could go to Ghana. Right now I cannot move because they want me to pay $300,000 for me to travel. Imagine in 21st century in Black Africa, that is thing I supposed to go with blood. Not everything you can say.
He wanted to cry, like he has tears in his eyes. That is, he's keeping something in, that not everything you say, and he's angry for what. And it was a crazy situation. Yeah, so the state was, the Ethiopian government was charging them $10 per day, and these people have been illegal for years and years and decades. I mean, if you multiply $10, yeah, 365 years, that's only for a year, and then imagine the person has stayed 5 years or 10 years. It's crazy. So he almost wanted to cry, and you see him, I hear him listing all the problems that this man is really hindered because he doesn't have that ID. Not because the state don't know that he is there, they know, but it's again, it's a resilience approach of the Ethiopian government, which is a paradox by itself. They know that they don't have any paper.
So they are saying that, and they get really surprised when they realize that we are not legal, because we know that we are legal. It's only through how the government have us at this time, but we know they are legal, because Haile Selassie bring us here, he give us the place, so we know we are legal.
And because what? Of immigrational problems, foreign affairs problems, we are considered to be foreigners, even though we consider ourselves to be Ethiopians. So it is contradictory if the Ethiopian government can consider I to be 83rd tribe, yet we have no rights. It is like words without no substance, words without no meaning, and they should put a stop to that. It's like it's been 6 months now, then they put out the news on the big media, all internationally, globally, that the Rastafarians have got legal status, that INI is here, same way, and nothing is being done. It's like it's been swept underneath the carpet, and all these things is wrong. If you're going to give someone legal status, you can tell them no and no. Not keep them waiting, suspended animation, and we don't know what to do. All these things is politics. It is downright politics.
They cannot move, they cannot work, they don't have resident permit. It's a lot of contradictions that's going on. The state doesn't come and bother them actually to kick them out, but they're illegal technically because they don't have paper.
So that's why I'm saying, if we wasn't legal, you think 1,000 people or more than 1,000 people could come from foreign countries, settle in the country, buy pieces of land or build houses, send their children to school, open companies, if we wasn't legal? That couldn't work. So we are always legal.
They are, discriminated, like in 3 levels by the state, because the police will always be after them if there is something, it could be related ganja, or if there is any crime committed, they will be the first suspect.
We grow herb in our yard. That's just what we do. We grow herb, and so we had a huge bush, and it had not started budding yet. And so somebody went to the authorities, because they're paid to do that around here, to peep out your yard and then go tell the authorities, and then they get paid for that. So they came, and the head man of the cabaret came, and he said, "Why are you bothering them?" He said, "Leave them alone." He said, this is their sacrament, or not those particular words, but this is what they use, this is what they know. It's not anything, leave them. And from that day, we've never had any problems with herb, but many people who are trying to transport it find themselves into problems. So they turn somewhat of a blind eye, but they don't want us, obviously, selling it to the local people, the youth, smoking it with them, encouraging them to use it. They don't want that.
I took my child when he was 3 years old to school, and by then it wasn't even locked hair. It was just long hair and braided, that was all. And I took to this private school, they did the assessment very well, a couple of assessments, he passed. And then when it's about to start the school, they thought, no, but you have to do something about his hair. What? In this multicultural country that we say our diversity is our beauty, forget Rasta, forget anything.
When I have the dread, sometimes people curse you because you got the dread. If you see and that's a map on your head, things like that.
So they tease you?
Yeah.
And after they finish school, they cannot get a job. And then also the religion. They might belong to any religion that exists in the country, whether it's Ethiopian Orthodox Church or Islam, or I'm just mentioning the prominent ones. It doesn't mean that these are the only ones in the country. Some of them, they accept the levity or the ideology, and they might still want to stick to the religion that they inherited from their family. And also they're outcasted by the religion leaders. Yeah, and those are the main ones actually. If you are outcasted by those, they have a bigger say in the community.
In school there's another problem, is because it's like a lot of Ethiopians know the history of His Majesty in Ethiopia. So the problem they come to face between me is, you're worshipping a person. Why do you worship a person? God, Haile Selassie is not God. When he was in Ethiopia, when he was king of Ethiopia, so many people died. He killed so many people. He is Satan.
This is a queue for food. These people are Ethiopian peasants. Once they had cattle, land and houses. They sold them all to buy food. Now they have only their rags. They're destitute.
But they don't take the time to understand the reason why. Before I never knew why, but now from my dad's explanation I get to understand it. We don't worship the flesh, we worship the spirit. It is Jesus Christ's spirit within inside of him, but they don't understand that. They just built on, he killed so many people died. So they say, why are you worshipping a person, and especially a person who is very bad? They don't understand that, and they don't take time to understand that. So that's the main problem I seem to face.
Live and direct, Zion Chenlo, Shashamane, Ethiopia. In the name of the Most High, Jah!
But the thing is, it becomes problematic when it is with a land grant, when the emperor called them, all black people to come all black people from the west to come and live in Ethiopia, he granted them a land in Shashamane. Now that land is because he knows these black people came out of their will from Africa, and it's like coming back home. So he gives them a land for them not to have a problem when they come to start. But that land so cannot be granted to other races.
ያው በንጉሱ ዘመን ራስተፈሪያን በተመለከተ ያው ከንጉሱ ከዛ ከባርነት ጋር በተያያዘ ከዛ ነፃው በነፃነት መኖር እንደሚችሉ 500 ካሬ ሜትር ቦታ ቆርጦ ሰጥቷል። ያን ቦታ ለባለቤትነት ነው የሰጧቸው። ስለዚህ የንጉሱ ስርዓት እስካለ ድረስ መሬቱን በባለቤትነት ይዘው ሲተዳደሩ የቆዩበት ሁኔታ አለ። ከዛ በኋላ በደርግ ሰዓት እንግዲህ ያው በደርግ ሰዓት የመሬት ባለቤትነትን በተመለከተ ደርግ የተለየ አዋጅ አወጣ። ጀስት መሬት የመንግስት ብቻ ነው የሚለውን በተመለከተ በ1968 አካባቢ ይመስለኛል። ስለዚህ በዛ ሰዓት አዋጁ ሲወጣ አክቹአሊ መሬታቸው ያው እንደ ሁሉም ገበሬ ናሽናላይዝ ተደረገ ማለት ነው። ከዛ በኋላ የኢህአዴግ ሲመጣ ያው የመሬት በተመለከተ የባለቤትነትን ጉዳይ በተመለከተ ያው በደርግ ሰዓት የወጣው አዋጅ ነው የቀጠለ።
We came in 1982 and we found that the government officials were welcoming us. But because of fear, they didn't give us a travel permit to go to Shashamane. They just fobbed us off. We'd come back tomorrow. Ishinege. So we realized we would just have to take a chance and come to Shashamane to meet our elders. So said, so done. We went to Shashamane and we met our elders.
From the original 500 hectares of land, we occupy now maybe, I would say, about 6-7 hectares of land in different parts of Shashamane. So we don't have one big plot of land. We have small individual house plots where people have built houses, maybe 250 carameters, 500 carameters at the most. So we're trying to get some of our lands back. We know it's going to be very difficult to get the whole 500 hectares back.
Most of the people, the early settlers to Shashamane, had been frightened and returned to the west, but a few remained. And they got together and wrote a petition to the Derg, reminding the Derg that this piece of land, Shashamane, was given as a gift and as a way of saying thank you to our forefathers that helped Ethiopia defeat Italian fascism.
Even in the 20th century, with faith, courage, and a just cause, David will still beat Goliath.
This is the same challenge that we face outside.
Thank you. That's the point. That's the point. I have a Juris Doctorate. I was in one of the most prestigious public institutions in the United States of America, the University of Florida, the law school, okay? I mean, what more? You got the job, the 401k, you've got the office, you've got... It was so challenging, so painful to be in an institution with that history of racism and the way you're seen, almost am I a token, am I the flavor of the month, am I, you're constantly, so everywhere in life there's challenges. Everywhere in life, but the spirit of Rastafari, the spirit of the universe, because I think this is a feature within all faiths, all spirituality, right? That you're looking for that light. If it means walking through that darkness to get to that light, you're focused on the light. And this is an important narrative that we cannot escape, because as your other informants have said, there's challenges everywhere. In Jamaica, and even now, there's certain schools where children with dreadlocks cannot go to school.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
In Europe, in America, those challenges are there. So what's the difference? At least you're home.
There are certain moments that I feel this has to be visual. And when they really are when she said, I can feel it, and I was like, gasp, like, you know, you can feel, yes, she really means it's home. With her voice going down. And yes, you have to relax. That's what I take directly when she says that. And, you know, relax. We are facing that also in the West. Yeah, so stop complaining. Also, what I put as in the parts of the challenge, the everyday problem. Also, corruption. To do anything, you know, corruption it's not something they have a choice to do. It's in the system.
There is a lot of corruption taking place in the Shashamani administration, and in any administration in Ethiopia, they're going through the same challenges. We work with the Shashamani administration to make sure that our community doesn't suffer from bribery or corruption.
It was the biggest disgrace I ever seen. I never see so much corruption in my life. I was through the court in Oromo region. We go through the court, and the people who bring me to court bring with me such foolish, false accusation. They change in their name in the middle of the process, and the process have to start again.
They changed your name?
No, not my name. The man who accused me, suddenly he changed his name, so the process had to start again. And they were telling all the time people, they kept in front of the judge, that even if I win the case, they're still going to chase me out from there. So finally, I win the case, I sold the house and moved from there. Sold the house very quick for very small money. And I had to give 100,000 to the people who were stoning my house. To stop them stoning my house, I could sell the house. This is the reality.
There are some workers in administration would take, you know, some money and give permission to put up, say, a proper wall, which is illegal.
So there was so much corruption, the judge asking, and I tell you this straight off the camera because this is what we have faced now. I'm not alone in facing this. It is very, very corrupted. I go through the thing, and I'm asked, give a little gobo and we'll finish the case, give a little this. This is not, everybody know that this is the case. This is not what we expecting from Ethiopia, as we have it to be a morally high, but this is how it went through.
Pure extortion. You can't hit a nail if you don't pay them money. You can't build a toilet. Melazena, we say every Ethiopian build a toilet in your house. If you try to build a toilet, they come and tax you. You try to put up a little house to expand to give your children a little more comfort. You have to pay them a big amount of money. Viciousness, and there is no one you can complain to. So they have us like so that's why you see the illegality is a major issue.
I feel like there is ignorance between both by the Rastafari community about Ethiopians and amongst the Ethiopian community about the Rastafari. So I want to close having a Rasta family and raising the Rasta children, or raising in this culture, and also Ethiopian. I can close that gap. I can bring their voice. I can project their voice, meaning through film, and bring it to the Ethiopian audience. And that can kind of close my researches. Yeah, it closes the gap between the two.
Raskabinda. The Rastafari returnees have been here for more than half a century. For more than half a century they have been here, starting from the 1960s or 50s, if I'm not mistaken. But still, I don't see full integration. And I haven't seen anyone except for the children who were born and grew up here speaking the local language in its full terms? What is that?
Well, I have an Ethiopian wife. I have a daughter with an Ethiopian sister. We build a house for her and she lives on her own. So that is our levels of survival. We are fully integrated. When I first came here, before I build a house for myself, I built 2 schools for the Oromo children in Edimadu School. Before I build a house for myself. You know, I used to train all the youth and them in football throughout the village. Everybody in the village know that. Everybody who's sick is to how they come. And I make medicine for all of them for several years. Heal several of them in the village. So I have done all my share of integration. I know all of them. I speak Amarinia. I don't know Romania to tell you the truth, but I know enough Amarinia to get along. You understand? I've been fully integrated. The first 20 years of my life is total dedication to all the ghetto youths inside there. All the youths that them call like their father. Because I raised them all up, give them work and train them and set them up. I used to have 2 free football teams for several years, sponsor in the village and build up the youth and them. All the youth and them can tell I all the work that I do within the village.
And many Rastafarians have broken down the language barrier in the sense of Amarigna. 15, 20 years ago when I first come to Ethiopia, there was like problem between the Rastafarians and the locals. Because the Rastafarians, they knew Amrik. They could understand when the local people are speaking Amrik and speaking bad things of them. And when the Rastaman sacked them, they switch to the next language, which, you say, what language is that? They say it is Oromo. Yeah. So with integration, we learned now that in Shashamane, we have to learn 2 languages, Amarigna and Afan Oromo.
When it comes to spiritual, if I am not fully into its spiritual, how do you say, spiritual interpretation and the ways I see the emperor, then yes, it can be complicated.
My parents mingle well with the locals, but then there comes a time when there's a problem because the children are brought up from the same understanding that the parents are brought up on, which is His Majesty was a bad person. He killed so many people when His Majesty was alive. Ethiopia was such a bad country. So now the children are learning from the parents. So my parents don't mingle with a lot of Ethiopians because it's like all they do is try to tease, they try to run joke on the fact that we worship in His Majesty. But there are some Ethiopians, as I said, that are into the Rasta worshipping of the Rastafari. So they have certain people that they mingle with.
Welcome in Amon Zionai. Blessed love.
I thought their challenges are always related between the state, between Ethiopia and the Rastafari community as one. But also I discovered there are challenges within themselves, which is, one is the race issue, and secondly, it's decentralization, that them being not organized or centralized, not having a forefront leaders that kind of deprived them from having different opportunities.
His Imperial Majesty visit to Jamaica April 21st, 1966. He advised us to organize and centralize. I mean, we are organized. We have many different Rastafari organizations. We have conducted several attempts towards centralization, but because of human imperfection, we don't arrive there yet.
I'd like to call Brother Jonathan Dyer, who is a son of long-time repatriate Brother Dyer, to say a few words. Give back.
Greetings, everyone. Experience not done yet enough. I'm Jonathan O. Dyer, one of the sons of the early pioneers. What about that movement, the power that we're looking for, we long for? Because you can't invite a guest and your house is not clean. I mean, it's not logical. Does not make sense. Does not make sense. You can't invite the guest, oh yeah, come to Africa, come to Africa. Yes, come to Africa, then what? Because in Ethiopia they have a saying. Gayun kafarasu atas kadam. In other words, don't put the cart before the horse. You know? Everyone got the idea of coming to Ethiopia. Yes, you have all the money, boom, buy a ticket, boom, you go to Ethiopia. Then after you come here, what is it? What, like, you know? So my point here, make this as points. Let's bridge the gaps between houses. If it's Rastafari, it's Rastafari. And now they're going to teach us So, as we go now, you know, everyone go to where they come from, but keep that in mind. That homework has to be done here. Some serious homework.
In one way or another, you put a kind of emphasis to color, isn't it?
But that is the history that they encounter, because I also understand from their side that what they experienced in slavery, how they lived in the West, even the segregation when they come to Ethiopia to live like in their own community is what they experienced also in the West. They are not mixed with other society. It's something that they pull from the back, from, you know, that's the burden of the slavery. It's they cannot take it away and throw it at one time. It's the consequence of slavery. So they just want to, I think it's beautiful. The only thing they are asking is, as far as my interviews concerned, my research, they want to correct that injustice. They want it to be corrected, and publicly to ask for an apology, and for all the things that they are deprived of, whether it's economically and other things. They want also not only repatriation, meaning repatriation is like relocating themselves to go back to Africa, but also reparation, to be paid off for what is ripped out of them. Yeah.
Now, and certainly I would say, you know, reggae music has added to this. By the 1990s, late 80s, 50 years after the advent of the movement, we see Europeans, we see Chinese, we see Japanese who say they see Emperor Haile Selassie as God Almighty too, and so they're Rastas. I can't say anything about that. How do I tell the South African that he can't be Buddhist? How do I tell the Russian that, you know, he can't be Hindu? How do I, you know, again, as Majesty says, religion is personal. Just to use the term religion, we know that Rastafari is a way of life because it's holistic. But that spiritual part, you know, whatever an individual does and finds that light, you know, that's fine. But in the context of the Rastafari movement, if you are not committed to those principles, redemption, liberation, repatriation, and reparations, and are not actively, whether in a small way or in a large way, working towards that, then to me it's questionable, you know, your commitment then to this totality of Rastafari, because we can't segment it out. We can't say, okay, the spiritual part, that's it, you know, it's a holistic, and again, that was the purpose. This is how it evolved, because Pan-Africanism, in the beginning, it did, and it had allies from all walks of life, you know, and the founders were not Rasta.
It's not something that you go and you are going to be alienated the minute you are a non-black. No, not really. People live and worship together. You don't, but of course, if you talk about it, you talk about it. It's like, I want to take one example, as one of my participants told me. They are all a family of human race, and they are brothers and sisters. But even brothers, they get into a fight.
We want to talk with our white brothers and sisters, the perpetrators of slavery, about this injustice. We want to see if they are now ready to accept that they have done us an injustice. Are they now ready to accept that they have committed a crime against humanity? Are they now ready to accept that the worst Holocaust in history has been committed by them? And in order for us, the victims, to truly love and forgive them, we need to hear from them that they accept they've done us a wrong.
Unless the one who did bad apologize, they cannot hug. And you know, there will always be something. And I don't think it's in the hands of those few white Rasta people who live in that community. And they are not asking, oh, you have to apologize before you become my neighbor. No, they are not saying that. Their question is more to the higher level, to the United Nations, to correct this injustice.
What we have now, Malit, is a situation where the perpetrator nations of slavery don't even accept that they did something. It was Tony Blair just a few years ago who stated that, when he was asked a question by a reporter, was slavery a crime? He answered, when slavery was committed, it was legal. That's what he answered. He didn't apologize. And this is the attitude of all the perpetrator nations of slavery. They have yet to apologize for slavery.
Again, the question to me of these challenges is more, as I said, do I prefer to face the challenges in New York, or do I prefer to face them here in Addis Ababa? And I say Addis, I say Accra, I say Johannesburg, I say Nairobi. So basically, if you're asking, okay, do you prefer the challenges, or do you prefer to go through your challenges here, or would you like to go through them in New York? That's the question that you're asking.
When I ask him where is home, Ethiopia is home. I mean, there's no negotiation on that. And the smile they put on their face after being furious and angry and, talking about problems. But no, we are not negotiating on this. They are not moving on each problem. That Ethiopia is home. So this, after going through these emotions, and at the end, I always make sure I ask that question, where is home to you? If you get your ID now, will you leave or will you fly away as soon as you get the money? No, Ethiopia is home. We're not going away anywhere.
And what is home for you?
Well, home is in Ethiopia, in Africa. Home is, it's a very tricky because home is it can be where you make it. It shouldn't be necessarily where you're born and raised. But in my case, I would say home is where my purpose is, and my purpose is in Africa, and home in Ethiopia, that's all. Yeah, I wouldn't be anywhere else. Do you still call Ethiopia home, and will you advise your relatives or your friends from the Rastafari movement out there to come and live here? Obviously, you have gone through a lot. And
Mama Ethiopia agarachi now.
For me, I love Ethiopia. I would never return full time to America. I miss my family, but I love Ethiopia all day, all night. I love the food here. I love the people here. I love the cultures. I love the weather, except in the morning it's a little bit too cold for me, but most than that, I love Ethiopia. I love going to the market every day. I love knowing my food is fresh. I love knowing I'm not eating a whole bunch of preservatives. I love that my children grow free here. They're free to be children. They're free to go play soccer and marbles and just go to the river, I love that my children are free here.
We love Ethiopia. If we let love Ethiopia, we wouldn't come. We'd probably go to Ghana, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, or somewhere else and live our life. But because of His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie, who is the king of Ethiopia, who also come to Jamaica and say, you Jamaicans are one people with Ethiopians.
The Sankofa, don't forget to look back. Don't forget to look at your history. So even if they all don't come and live here, the fact that they're coming, that they're connecting, that it's part of their consciousness, it's part of their reality, then that to me is victory. Because wherever you are, you have to know who you are. And maybe it's an oxymoron, maybe it sounds ridiculous, but identity matters as much as it doesn't matter. Identity matters as much as it doesn't matter. You know, it's all in context.
Challenges. You know, sometimes you get so used to challenges, you forget that they are challenges. You know, because our positive way of life means that we become excellent hurdlers without realizing it. Sometimes we forget the challenges that we face. You know, you come from a culture that will pose challenges to you because you are Rastafari. You face maybe challenges from family or friends or society saying, who do you think you are? Why are you going to these people? You understand? You overcome these challenges and after a while you forgot.
As a Rasta, being born in South Africa, I would say amongst our key challenges, it's one that there is a negative stigma and perception about Rastafari where people don't have a full understanding of what and who Rastafari is. So that in itself, it poses a challenge. Also, secondly, in terms of religion, the Christian religion within our country has been institutionalized. So there's not much acceptance for any other faith-based doctrine or theology that challenges or that is not based within the Christian doctrine or Judeo-Christian doctrine. So anything that is not similar to that is not easily accepted within the community. And because it is not accepted within communities, that means already Rastafari, or as an adherent of the faith of Rastafari, or the liberty of Rastafari, as I best understand it, is automatically some form of outcast within the broader community.
From what you told me, I feel this, full of stubbornness, going through all these challenges for, quarter of a century. This is what it is. If now, what this government announced, the Ethiopian government, can be implemented and you get your national ID, after all these challenges, are you still determined to stay? Or will you advise anyone to come?
Yeah, because Ethiopia is our home. This is our home. The reason that you see there are all those pressures upon our because Ethiopia is the treasury. Ethiopia is the treasure, is the jewel of everything. So the imperialist forces don't want I as Rastaman to get foundation here in Ethiopia because they know that will be their downfall. So they try to make it as hard as possible to frustrate you and make you don't want to come. But they are always coming. They never stop coming, and they're setting up themselves as so-called investors and taking over all the prime land and getting all the best opportunities. So more and more we need to come home. For instance, if I have a legal status, I can use my house as collateral and get $500,000 from the bank, and I can set up a farming a farming or some other agro-industrial business. That is one of the greatest things that holding us down. For we illegal, we cannot approach the bank because that is how the whole of Ethiopia run. That is why there are about 20 private banks. The whole of Ethiopia is run by the banking system. They give loans and people develop themselves and they control everything. The same way, if we is legal, then we can approach the banks as collective, get loan and we can set up business and have equal opportunity.
A lot of the Ethiopian diaspora are coming home to Ethiopia now to take advantage of a lot of these opportunities. The Rastafari community is also gearing itself up to come into Ethiopia to also take advantage of the opportunities here. There are huge opportunities here where you can be very successful. The competition is always going to be high, but the demand is also there. So it's a supply and demand kind of situation here in Ethiopia at the moment for potential investors. I am asking the Rasta community in the West to be more entrepreneurship, looking to come here to do business more than to come here to be employed.
More than 5 decades being illegal here, not being able to work, not being recognized by the government, because people have been repatriating ever since the 1960s or 50s, the late 50s, I think. It's only now that this community is recognized.
I think we have been recognized. When I talk to the elders who are there, they tell already 30, 40 years the local people recognize us. They know, they talk about us as the Jamaicans.
But on the level of government, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, on the level of government, they knew we were there all along the years. Me personally, coming to Ethiopia, the custom when I came, they said, go to Shashmane, go there, that's your home.
So like, don't come and give us trouble here, but just go there.
That is your place. That's why Haile Selassie give you. Go stay there. And I can say reality-wise that the years I've been staying there, not one time nobody has come up to me and asked me an ID. So they don't trouble us as we stay there. They know we are living there.
But at least life would have been different if you were able to work and be able to invest with a little money. It could have been all different, right?
All this, but
so I'm just saying, like, what is the hindrance from where it comes from?
Haile Selassie.
This piece is called The Pool of I.
Autobiographical.
I'm like a pool of water that you can't see the bottom of. You gotta jump in to know how deep I go. Head or feet first, it really doesn't matter because the depths are infinitely unfathomable. Swim in my thought stream, float in my mind dream. The hot and cold springs combine to create a warm sensation as you glide through the current of my cogitations. Relax. The bubbles you feel is the natural carbonation. Pain, sadness, joy, and elation. Jump in, get wet, feel my inspiration. Jump in, get wet. Clap your hands, everybody. Everybody just clap your... Even poets are prone to brain freeze sometimes. Mercy, mercy me, the ecology. Things just ain't the way they used to be. Inner city blues make me wanna holler, rat race, paper chase for the almighty dollar. Got to leave this place is what some may choose. But now that we found love, what have we got to lose? Put your hands together like birds of a feather. We flock to the rock of ages to experience life turns like pages. Papa, don't take no mess. I confess I'm too blessed to be stressed. I just wanna testify about love and happiness. I'm thankful and thoughtful. No weapon formed against me will ever prosper. Ain't no sunshine without the living water. Sitting on the dock of the Zebulon Bay. It's gonna be a lovely day. Lovely day. Lovely day. Lovely day. Solid ground. profound sound, inner visions and songs in the key of life. That's where I belong. Get up, stand up, all night long. When daylight comes, me want to go home. Exodus, movement of your people. I can understand it if you want to see the sequel. Swing down, sweet chariot, stop. Let me ride to the mountaintop. Swing down, sweet chariot, stop. Let me ride to the mountaintop, to the mountaintop, to the mountaintop. Thank you, y'all.
9 months alongside
Herbsman percussion.
The Herbsman percussion, yeah. But few will realize, hey. Few will realize, Mount Zion is already in you. People them a pray to reach Zion, but Zion is already in you. But few will realize that Mount Zion is already in you. People them a pray to reach Zion, Mount Zion is already in you. The ancient black people, they rule all the earth. The royal ancestors, they rule the universe. The ancient roots people, they knew the inner truth. The chakras by Nigla, Pedula, Oblongata. Who is to blame for the sufferation? Tell me who is to blame? Africa still no unite. Who is to blame that the people them still searching and watching up in the sky? The ancient tradition, no tribal war on earth. It's the ancient tradition. The Naya in the drums, the ancient tradition, united stand.